I'll drive up into Redmond on a Sunday morning and there's no traffic on the road, and it's in the summer and everything's in bloom and the trees are overhanging, and it's absolutely gorgeous.
The Westlake Sammamish Parkway is a stretch of roadway in the city of Bellevue passing through a community renowned for the splendor of its views and its accessibility to serene parklands.
We're right in the heart of a metropolitan area, but we have a rural little enclave here.
I like using it because there's so many nice trails that go up into the woods along the parkway.
This area is unbelievable inside the city, and those are treasures to us that live here.
With the exception of some minor extensions and road maintenance efforts, the road itself remains very much as it did in the early 20th century.
As a child, we played on the parkway because there were very few cars.
Clearly, times have changed. As currently configured, I-405 is not able to accommodate the growth in north-south traffic. As such, corridors like 148th, 156th, and the Westlake Sammamish Parkway have become the corridors of choice for regional pass-through traffic.
Lake Sammamish Parkway seems to be the 405 bypass. It was never meant to be a 405 bypass, but that's what it seems to have become.
There's been a few things that have been implemented over the last few years with the flashing radar sign that'll indicate if you're going over the speed limit, and that slowed people down, but there's other things that could occur along the parkway.
The Bellevue City Council acknowledges that additional efforts are needed and is evaluating what can be done to improve the current situation.
You've already expressed that you don't want it to be a bypass for 405. Neither does this council. What we're asking you to do is help us define what your issues are, what your concerns are, and talk about it. Listen to each other. There's competing needs and interests here.
So the workshops are really to bring everybody together from all sides of the issues to try to walk through what alternatives there possibly are for the parkway.
Somehow between now and the end of this process, we have to come to sort of some kind of an agreement. Maybe not perfect from everybody's perspective, but that it does what the majority of this group believes it should, and that people can get behind it and make a case for it getting into the CIP funding process within the city.
We don't have any preconceived ideas on what this project's supposed to look like. We have not laid out any alternatives. We really are not going to put any cookie cutter approach to this, saying that, well, if it's a minor arterial, we have to do this, this, and this. We have none of those. We are actually looking to you to help us generate some new ideas.
Numerous issues and suggested improvements are surfacing as this project progresses.
I like to be able to talk to the residents to find out what it is they want. I like to have them actively involved to tell me what it is they'd like to see happen.
You come down 26th or come down 34th, if people are wanting to turn left, there's no provision for that presently. It blocks the traffic because there's a white line on the right which doesn't allow a car to get by a left-turning car. If there could be a left-turn pocket, people wouldn't have to get backed up by people trying to turn left. Same thing's true up at Northup.
We're walkers and we often don't feel very safe down there.
I'm loath to take my kids to walk up to the little store, except only in the summer and only in bright sunlight. And even then it's they're to the inside and I'm to the outside. I'd like to see it widened a little bit to allow for pedestrian lanes on both sides of the road. So if I wanted to take my kids up to the little store, we could walk up the steps here and just make a right and walk all the way up. Right now we can't do that. We have to cross the road to get to the pedestrian side.
I really think that widening on the west side is going to give you a better opportunity to provide a safer multi-use road. Having a few more crosswalks, at least at 34th and at 26th, just that blinking light would be a big help. Then I know that if I were in the crosswalk that they would know that I ought to have the opportunity to go across.
In conjunction with the safety aspects of the road, I wonder if there couldn't be consideration given to some additional overpasses, pedestrian overpasses, much like down by Sambika, which I think can be done attractively, but can also reduce the hazard of trying to get people across the road.
I can remember when the walking and the bike path were installed on the west side. I like that path. I walked it many, many times. It's not real high quality. It could certainly be upgraded.
I would like to have us work on projects that will give, I think, people, joggers, walkers, recreational piece, an area that they can use.
If I travel northbound on the Parkway, I take a car. Generally speaking, I don't take my bicycle at all northbound on the Parkway.
We walk along the Parkway. I would love to bike along there, but to me it's not safe enough. Any idea of widening the shoulder on the east side and trying to get traffic on that side in the way of walking is more hazardous because of all of the driveway accesses.
The main thing is adding a pedestrian bike lane on the east side of the street, and I think that would go a long way.
There's a bike lane all the way along Lake Sammamish that abruptly stops at the roundel and then resumes on the other side of the road. If you're bicycling, you have to enter the traffic lane of the roundel. At a minimum, if there's a plan on this road, the bike lane is extended into the roundel because it's very unsafe to bicycle.
As an occasional bike rider, the current bike lane leaves something to be desired. When you're traveling around the lake, you're meeting oncoming bicyclists. If the bicycle lane was available on both sides and could go with the flow of traffic, then less of an impact.
I ride per the law, so I ride northbound on the east side, and I constantly look back, make sure they're not going to hit me, making a northbound lane, putting the cyclists over, riding with traffic, so it's legal, and giving them enough room to maneuver, enough room for motorists to maneuver. We should try to look for the best win-win situation that most closely accommodates everyone, and I think probably something similar to what Redmond did.
There's a variety of opinions that you've all expressed. Some want it widened on the east, some want it widened on the west. Some care about bicycling, some don't care about bicycling. The council's very concerned about the safety issues. We've had a man hit trying to get his mail. We've had a little boy trying to get on the bus that was hit. Safety is paramount importance to this council, so we ask you to listen to each other, work together, develop an alternative that you can bring to us on the City Council, your plan for your Parkway.
While there is a great deal of enthusiasm for these various improvements, steep driveways, homes near the roadway, side slopes, drainage and the quality of the lake are but a few of the issues that need to be considered with any changes to the Parkway.
Steep slopes on both sides of this Parkway in many, many areas. So design solution that looks closely at how can we make things work within the least possible amount of space is going to be the key to the success of this project.
There isn't the width available to do all that everybody would like, so it's going to be an awful lot of compromise.
We must have room for at least 20 cars along the Parkway on both sides of our gate. And that's really helpful to us because anytime there's a social event on the property of any size at all, you'll see parking moving out to the Parkway.
If the road is widened at all, it will take away our ability to back safely out of our driveways. And I'm very worried about widening, making the drainage issues worse.
If you change the Parkway, you're going to have to change how the drainages will be to relieve the flow that comes over and down the hill to the lake.
What I'm concerned with is the quality of the lake itself, and that's going to outlive me and outlive all the rest of us that are trying to solve the problems of what to do on improving the Parkway.
We know there are hard choices. We know there are trade-offs. We know there are alternatives. Listen to each other, try to get the interests that matter the most to you, and work with our staff and with the City Council to do what's best for you in an envelope of what we can afford as a city, and we will be ever so grateful to solve the problems on West Lake Sammamish Parkway.